Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tap Into Your Creativity. Today, my guest artist is Aaron Jack. He is joining us all the way from Pittsburgh, and can't wait for him to tell us a little bit about himself. Here he is, and I'm gonna try and bring him in so we can start our chat. Can't wait. Thank you everyone for being here. And I'm excited for you guys to meet Aaron. Hello. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm so excited because last time it was the opposite, right? You had me
Right.
as your guest. And so so I told you all about myself. Now it's your turn to tell us about yourself. And listen, thank you for being here, for being part of this project, and for being part of my army of artists, which I am so blessed and thankful for each one of you. Without you guys, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing. So thank you so much. And so tell us, Aaron, your name, where you're from,
Oh,
and
yeah. So I'm Aaron Jack. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I mean, really, I'm there with you, the viewer, everywhere in the world. Wherever you are, I'm there.
I feel the same way.
Right? I'm there. I'm right there with you. Right
Yep.
there on the, you
Yep.
know,
Yep. We're right there. Doesn't matter.
right there in the living room, hanging out with you. That's where I am. So ask some questions,
Yeah.
and invite your friends too. I have the little send it out right there. Invite your friends. Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
So Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are, what do you do, where do you work, and then we can start in your childhood too, like, you know,
yeah.
take us back there too.
Right. So let's see. Where am I? I'm in Pittsburgh. What am I doing? I'm in Cove, the middle of the lockdown, just like probably a lot of you. And I've been kind of lifting myself up slowly through my work, is just like connecting. I found is an amazing way to lift ourselves up, to find ourselves in community, to find ourselves past this, to create because it's not only just creating the work itself, but like the work, as you know, is also connecting with others and connecting with like-minded others and creating together. I think that's so important, and I find myself sitting here and observing in the world and observing others as well as myself. Like who who am I in this? Who are we? As a society, and I find that interesting. I guess I find it interesting as uh, I've been a photographer, videographer for a lot of years, and photography's been like the main thing for me for a long time. So during this quarantine, I started on the series. I've got one right here. One second. I've got one right here. Um, just like I started painting these portraits.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so I was on this trip through the West Coast about some years ago, and then I started photographing all the beautiful people and the smiles and listening to their stories. So
This was before the
this is
pandemic.
before the pandemic. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like about 2 years before the pandemic.
Okay.
So I was out on the West Coast traveling, as I like to do, just like travel through the world and photograph and create art or conceptual pieces, just like create in the world and
Yeah.
create with the people around me. So I was on a film set, actually. I was an extra on a music video in LA. And then I met this guy Breland, who's now like a famous singer. He came out with this song called My Truck. So but anyhow, I'd photographed him at the time. I photographed a bunch of other people, and then I started creating the series. of
I
portrait.
love that. Wow. Is that ink?
Yeah, so that's Sumi Ink. So that was kind of one of the things is that kind of brought me back into the painting in front of other people because I'm just like, oh, I need a series to bring myself back into the world and to connect with others. So I slowly just like I was making these portraits just like waking I needed something to like get myself
Right.
you know,
Right, right.
lockdown.
Did you go to school for photography or?
I went to school for industrial design, but I studied photography in like high school. I've studied photography since I was like in like grade school. Like I've studied, I've worked with some of the top photographers in the world. I've interned, I've worked with some of the top level dance companies. I was particularly a dance photographer,
Oh,
dance and jazz work. I've worked with a lot of musicians, um, top level dance companies in the world. Like that's just like my background is I was really focused on dance and movement as
I just saw a photograph of the dancers from the company of Alvin Alley, which I'm
mm-hmm.
sure you are familiar with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there were four dancers in the air and, just the body movement and every single muscle that you can see on every single dancer. It's like a stroke on a painting. It was so fabulous. It was so like words could not express that kind of work. So I'm sure you had
Yeah.
that feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was particularly interested in the motion, emotion, the feeling, the stories behind them, and just the humanity. I think that's the real thing about my work is it's really about the humanity behind it all
Mhm.
through my work, and that kind of brings me to the portraiture, and that's also how I find interviewing is really it's a for me it, my series is about a portrait of the person, um, and how do I bring that portrait out? So that's kind of like the tie between my portraiture and then got me like really more into like the tying my abstract line work, my abstract, and I've been painting for a long time, but I haven't publicly shown it like very like publicly sharing and all of that. So this pandemic and through connecting with others in different worlds has been a way for me to
So
find and connect.
what happened? How did you start? The pandemic hit. Were you back in Pittsburgh at this point?
Yeah.
And then were you, as a photographer, were you able to go out on the streets and still do that? Or did you find yourself confined and saying, I better stay home?
Uh, I found myself saying I better just like stay away from all of that. Like it's just like it's not worth it for me. Like at to to risk um the people around me. It's not worth it. It's not even worth for me. Like it's not worth me going to a restaurant. It's not worth me like I didn't even order takeout or any or go to a grocery store. I was like the fewer people the better. I was like I wouldn't even go to a gas station. I didn't
Right,
drive anywhere. Like I
right.
was like I'm
You were
here. I'm like
paralyzed at home. Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
was like I'm cut off.
yeah, yeah.
So now I'm doing some pickup, but like but I wasn't even doing that for a long time. So I was really just trying to find a way to connect with others without going out. So it was like, how do I do that? And so that became like this painting these portraits, and then I started like playing my guitar every day, like really like as a practice, like my guitar, my writing, my portraits, and then it came into my series of interviewing. And I think you might have some of these, the series where I was like I've been painting with musicians
Yeah,
online.
yeah, I actually do. Let me bring those in. Um, huh. Wait 1 second.
No, it's okay.
Here.
It's okay. We're all here.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I don't think anybody can hear this here, but there are musicians there playing, and I'm finding myself painting, you know, it's the words, it's the poetry, the painting is poetic. So I came to Sumi painting because like I came back to this ink because of this guy Paul Reps, where I had a I was supposed to be out on the West Coast with a residency in May, where I'd just done this series of picture poems in this inspired by this guy. He was like, it's like a Zen philosopher where he connected the picture with the words in just such a way, where I started interpreting that into photographs with words because it's like my native tongue. So I started to kind of take the take that intonation from an inspiration from that, and so now I've like started to take on some of the materialism, the material of, not like materialism, but the material of him. Oh, that's cool. How did you do that? How did you switch you in the picture? Did you just click?
I just clicked on it.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that you could do that. That's cool.
Now I don't know how to stop it.
Oh, you just go into your media and then you just swipe over to the little no picture icon.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
That's pretty cool. So really you started probably, is it meditating through music and expression of yourself?
I guess. I mean, it's really like after my grandma passed away, what is it? A little over a year ago. So that was really impactful. I'd lived with her for a lot of my life,
Okay.
off and on, and so it was. But I just got into this idea of like the photographs with the words as a way to express this meditative beyond what was on the surface, translating the external the external through like an internal lens.
Okay.
So it's like, how do I give the viewer a way to be present with us? So that became the words, and yeah, that became the words of it all.
So do you have more of the portraits that you showed us?
I might. I've more in the other room I could get, but let's see if I have any here. I have my friend's dog Momo, and yeah, I'm not sure if I have.
Sorry to put you on the spot here.
No, it's okay. It's okay. This is just like a sketchbook kind of thing. So like just a few of the people, my friend Patrick,
and it's only on ink. Everything that you're using is ink, pretty much.
This series is only Sumi ink, and I was using just different sorts of paper. So I hadn't gone into rice paper at this point.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like what I had around.
Right. And so how did you start with your interviews, and what are you looking for in your interviews? Who are you interviewing and why?
Okay. Well, this goes back to another project of mine. So during my time in industrial design, so product and system design, I was really looking to like find my own, like, what is it to change the systems of education and design, and and the sustainability of our planet in the objects that we create. And I thought that the best way is, a vertical system where we're looking at the top levels of who's creating these objects that, you know, and sustainability, and also the educational levels, like how are we like learning. So I created a system where I created a design conference in Rochester, New York, that has gone on for the last, I don't know, 8 years or so. So I created a system where it builds itself through students. So the students design the conference and say like what education they want to have. So it's a real like ground up 3-day design conference with 300 to 400 people every year, 30 some speakers. So it was just like how to create the immersive environment for us to say our own education. So I've mixed this like idealized version of education and curiosity, and just like who do I want to learn from, because that's really what it came down to, who I picked like as speakers, and went out and researched my own, like just whoever I was curious about, because at the end of the day I figure like what am I really learning from it, and then the people who are also interested what I'm interested in, you know,
Right,
will
right, right.
follow me and be interested in the next thing. So I just like, so that's kind of the part behind it all, is I made a design conference, and now I'm like, oh, now I'm interested in where I am inside of the art space and creating and just like creating. So that's kind of the main thing, is just whoever kind of comes across my path and is inspiring to me, and you know,
Because I know we've
yeah,
had a lot of crossover of people that, you know, we find both very interesting. I know
yeah,
that for me, you know, I'm always looking for people to inspire at home, people that have a lot to give, that maybe before the pandemic, you know, we were all very closed in our own little world, and now we're so open and willing to share. And I have found out very people are just willing to open their hearts and souls and help each other. And at least in my hour in tap into your creativity, you know, I turn down the noise of what's happening out there, and I try to keep this very light and fun, and you know, for people at home to take something, you know. And so, you know, every artist, every uh, art curator, gallerist, interior designer, anyone who's been here has given me, but others as well, food for thought. And it's kind of like an educational part as well. So for me, it has a lot of facets. And because I want, you know, not only for obviously for everyone else, but I'm enriching myself from just listening to all of you, because it's very humbling to see how people are just responding to you know, opening their studio doors where maybe they wouldn't before, you know, or they wouldn't talk about it, and getting out of your comfort zone. And you know, and you talk about sustainability, and now, you know, that's where art is really going, you know. I think that how you can conceptualize your artwork into something that will change the world somehow in a good way, right? So you want to make an impact in every way, shape, or form to help and to create some sort of history that people can look back and see your work and talk about it and say, hey, you know, I was doing this when this pandemic hit, you know, what were you doing?
well, I think the interesting thing for me in this is that it's kind of like, here's what I can do to, I guess for me is I really enjoy just like running around the world, and I'm interviewing people or just talking to them, and I've been really trying to figure out, you know, and photographing them and creating art maybe with them, or about them. And I really have been struggling with the idea of how do I not only have that footage, but then be able to share that. Like, oh, I'm learning all of this, but how do I share what I'm learning with others? And that's really what it is to bring others into that fold of learning with me. That's what it is right now. I mean, I can't say what it
Yeah,
is in the
no,
future,
it's
you
kind
know,
of like
but
the same thing because
mm-hmm.
like, you know, my dream, if you ask me right now, is to be able to, you know, travel around the world and find the artists and do the interview live with them in their studio, in their space. So for right now, this is the best thing that we have, right? So we're bringing the best thing that we have, and by doing this, we're getting closer. My community of artists is growing tremendously, and we are feeding from each other. And
Mm.
so it's like, you know, it's a win-win.
Yeah, no, completely. I think that's the beautiful thing is that like you just doing this is really inspiring for me because I'm like, oh wow, like, you know, there's other people like, and then you just keep doing it. And I've been really inspired that you've been, you know, working so hard on this whole project with all these paintings. Cause I know like that's just an incredible amount of work to not only do the art but then interview and then admin and then discuss. Like that's like I like kind of dream of doing, you know, something more, and I'm like, and I'm inspired by that is like, you know, that
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
able to
I
take that
listen,
forward.
I'm, you know, people say, so how are you doing it? I'm like, I'm working all the time. Literally. And so I'm trying to actually balance my life a little bit now. So I'm actually switching to only Saturday. So I'll have one interview a week. So I'll have more time to be in my studio and do what I love to do, which is paint. And but I do have to say that my good friend Sarah Schroeder today, we sold another one of the paintings. So now the total tally is at 17,750,000 for Feeding America. That
Nice.
means 175. No, sorry, 177,000 meals, which if you think about that, um, that number is insane. I am
Oh yeah,
so excited. So I know that
I the one
you,
that I'm gonna the
I know that you
right here, I
created
have it right
something.
here.
I know, look at that, you guys.
So I've
So
just
can you
been,
tell us a little bit about that painting?
yeah, I've just been recently incorporating gold into my work. And that's really the thing is that at the heart of it is like there's the Sumi ink I found is like kind of the grounding element in all of this is that it becomes like it's that chi, it's the energy flow and also the carbon. So the last show that I had, which you have some pictures of, was called The Carbon Connection. Yeah, so it's based on this show which I've had. So from my series of portraiture, I went and had this solo show, and this was in collaboration with a chef and some musicians. Uh, I worked with a lot of different musicians on the live
Is this the
painting.
outside
This is the
of?
outside.
Okay,
This is
okay.
in Youngstown, Ohio. So I was working with a chef in Cleveland where he was making me ink, and then he
He
was
was
also,
making you ink?
yeah, he was making me the ink.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's like sending it to me in these like jars, and I'm like, you know, he's like, and we're
Oh,
like,
wow.
he's shipping it to me, and I'm opening it on the lives, and then
Oh, that's
sing it with so I have a friend that does like geometric. He's a geometric designer, kind of like along
uh-huh.
like geometry. So I was
Yeah.
mixing the ink with my photographs with geometry and then the movement. So I was going back and forth between these different these different ideas. But like the ink itself was that carbon, that way of connection beyond the screen, to be able to see and feel the tactileness inside of us, so that we could translate as the humanness of it all cross when we're all stuck in quarantine, is how do we connect? So the carbon in the medium itself became that connection. And so when I'd be playing with me, the musicians would be playing with me, it became that connection to the paper, and that connection to the viewer. So that's kind of at the heart of it. And then with the gold now, that's kind of that light coming in, that beauty, and it can be interpreted in a lot of ways. I think that's the beauty of it. I'm just really liking to explore this element of like the pure carbon with a simple rice paper.
Yeah,
And then
yeah. I
so then
like the
as other.
combination of what you're talking about, because it's almost like poetry, infused with, I would say, Eastern approach to your work, and finding the balance between the Western and the Eastern. Maybe coming in with the gold and making it more contemporary, more current, more modern, using an ancient way of approaching a painting. And so, and I think that what you do here, what I'm seeing behind, is like you like playing with the wind. And you, on this one here, you can kind of see that you have almost like clothes hangers for your paintings. And so you can see the light, and it's translucent. The rice paper, if you put it up on the window, you can see all the texture, and it's a beautiful kind of paper. So I think you're playing with a lot of things to convey your language.
Thank you. Thank you for your interpretation. I appreciate that. Yeah, and another thing that I found is, like, when in combination with other ones, is then it becomes almost like a musical series onto itself. So each painting is almost like its own note, its own feeling, its own moment of
Even the way you have them hanged, right? So they have a
exactly.
rhythm, boom, 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 boom. And so it just has this, like, rhythm. And even though that we might not find a reason why or whatever, there's no need. It just has its own music inside of it. And so, so I think you're trying to find your own music. I think you have to continue doing it and push it as hard as you can, and find your own voice, because this is a new medium that you're going into. It's not your typical photography that you used to do. You're completely transforming, and you're morphing into something new for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's been a journey the last bunch of months since quarantine, to kind of morph and change, and to experience what that is in a new way. So taking like the photographs, and
So
then
can you talk about this one in particular, what we're looking at right now?
yeah, so I was taking my friend self, and then kind of putting that, it was like a moment, it was a rather poetic moment, with like the moon above, and we're just outside this space, taking this moment onto itself, experiencing what it is with this full moon. That was really what it was.
Okay.
And so I took that with this other experience of this flower, of the sunflower at night.
Yeah.
Um, and then I combined that with this geometry that's moving. So my friend's geometry, and it's like moving So it's
Yeah, it's
this
very
overlay.
it's very mesmerizing.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's kind of that play. And this one is talking about this Zen. It's from a cone where what it's the academic walks into the space of a Zen philosopher, and he says, "Teach me Zen," and then the Zen master starts pouring him tea and just continues to pour tea until the tea overflows, and he just like keeps pouring tea. So and the academic asks, why do you keep pouring tea? And the Zen master says, first you need to uh you know empty yourself of all of your preconceptions, of all your notions of what it is. uh so I thought it was very interesting. And then I started to play with this idea of even the words themselves are too much.
Mm-hmm.
Even the words of the empty cup itself is too much. So eventually being able to strip away piece by piece. So as we build and as we build understandings, we're also able to be present within each moment as we go forward. So with this, it's like how to be present with uh, the overlay of like that idealized way of connection, and
Mm-hmm.
that overlaid with the humanity,
Mm-hmm.
and also of how our humanities overlaid with our external view of the world. So like, oh, here's our external view of nature, but then how we see it, how we view it. Oh, I guess I didn't get you the ones that were, I don't, it crops it differently. Anyhow,
It
there we
does
go.
it,
This
it
one.
this one.
Yeah, I thought. Anyhow, yeah. So that's kind of the idea behind it all, is that in humanity, we're all imperfect, the imperfection of it all, but how to see the words, that, how to feel those layers.
Okay. Okay, so
So,
that's why you can't see it here, but it says smell with or feel with my nose.
mhm.
And then on this one, I can't remember what it
Oh, it
said.
says primordial soup.
Okay, so I guess
Hmm.
you're using your senses. Is that what ultimately?
So they're all kind of different in that way. Of some are kind of like this senses beyond what might be seen, and some are kind of like an internal sense or like of a memory. Some are kind of reflective of the moment. Some I've been playing around with this, like with like the voice of others, so
Mhm,
intermixing voices.
mhm.
So it becomes this way of how to bring others into the moment of now. As like poetry, it's not about the moment, it is the moment.
Right. It's living right now, and it's not worrying about tomorrow, learning about the past, but it's being in the moment. And and what they say is breathe, right? Breathe one step at a time, and try to be better than yesterday, and one little step at a time, and that's all you can do, right? And where do you see yourself in a year from now?
I don't know, making something cool, making something inspiring myself, because I hope if I'm able to inspire myself, I'm able to help others take that step for themselves.
Yeah.
As when others take that step for themselves, they're able to get me to take that step, and we're all able to bring each other along on the ride. I think that's the thing about building connections and community and reaching out and helping each other out is,
Yeah, for sure. For
you
sure.
know, we're able to find ways to work through things, find ways to learn, uh, find ways to help each other.
Right.
I feel like that's that's the thing at the end of the day, is that we're all humans, we're all living
Yeah, for
this.
sure. For sure. Oh yeah, that is for sure. So, I will you show us again the
Yeah.
painting that you
Oh
made
yeah.
for this project?
Oh yeah.
It's for sale, you guys, and everything. All the proceeds will go. 100% of proceeds will go to Feeding America. So help us keep helping the people in need. And we will post this beautiful piece by Aaron Jack. And please DM me or him if you have any questions regarding it and how much and all of that. And we will be happy to share that with you guys. So please consider helping people in need, especially with Thanksgiving coming. I will not be live next week. I don't know if you are, Aaron.
I'm live. I think I'm just like booked. I just booked myself for months of like 2 to 3 a week.
Okay, God. Oh my God. I'm winding down to once a week and I'm fine with that. I'm taking Thanksgiving weekend off. So for
No, that's
everyone.
good. That's good. You need it. You're doing like you're doing all this stuff on top of the interviews. I do the discussions, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I have a lot of hats in my head, but I'm proud of it. I'm happy
No,
and
that's
I'm very
amazing.
thankful. So for for everyone, have an amazing Thanksgiving. I couldn't be more thankful and grateful for all of you, for all my army of artists being there for me and tap into your creativity, believing in myself, and you guys believing in me and trusting me through this process has been amazing. So thank you. I wish you just lots of success and to continue with your incredible work that you're doing. And I hope you find your inner voice, and that's coming out beautifully. So I wish you but success.
Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to share here and to share as part of your project. I really appreciate that. And you coming on my page, Aaron Jack Line Art, to share your story and your work. I
Yeah.
really appreciate you being part of like that. I appreciate that the communities can connect and can grow together. I think that's so important in this world of just like, oh, this little thing here, that little thing there. But like, as those communities connect and grow, as we encourage other groups, and other people to inspire, to create, and to talk to others,
For sure.
that 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 we can be more connected, we can learn more, we can grow more together, as together, as opposed to, like
Well,
we're
I think
we're
as
all
human
working.
beings, I think the connections now are different. They're stronger, even though that they're not in person, which is weird to say. But I think that there's something to be said about, being consistent, being there, working hard, believing in what you're doing wholeheartedly. And I think that if you have all the components and you're willing to put your heart out there, there's nothing but yourself stopping you. So, I would say for anyone who's listening and they think they can't do it, everyone can do it. You just need to want it really bad and to work really hard, and then you'll get it. Nothing comes easy or free. You have to, put your best foot forward, and sometimes it takes to put yourself out of your comfort zone to achieve that. But I've seen that happen again and again, and I keep getting surprised by others who are really, doing that and stepping out of their comfort zone and just working really hard. And it's just really astonishing to see, like my friend Sergio Gomez that you had also, I believe.
Yeah.
Like he said, in the beginning, all these people started to do these lives, and they all went away, and just a few continued, and those are the ones who have the passion, that want to keep doing, want to keep helping, want to keep, being there for others. And no one said it's easy, but my soul and my heart is full, and I would never trade that for the world. And I'm sure you would feel probably the same way.
Yeah, I'd like to also say, like, I hope that by continuing to do these and us continuing to do them, that we can inspire others to, if they have dropped it and they have like let it go or haven't started yet or something's been stopping them, that they too can start their own things and including others in their work and providing their platform as a way for other artists to share of themselves, because
Yeah.
that's such a gift that you're giving other artists your platform to
Yeah,
share
because it's not
their work.
only helping the community, but it's artists helping artists, artists supporting artists, artists inspiring artists. So it's a two-way combination, right? So it's the community of artists helping at large, but also we helping each other, right? So by me giving you the spotlight, hopefully people will be more aware of you and will be looking, more at your page and what you're doing and keeping up with you. And same with myself. If people are interested in what I'm doing, they'll be connected. And I do feel very connected with my followers, and I do. I'm grateful for each one of them. And we have this ongoing conversation all the time, and I love it. I love that we have that, and people can see the honesty. So I'm grateful, like I said, and let's just continue on.
Continue on, right? That's the that's the you know that's the easier said than done, but you know I think that's the trick of it all is oh, do we have any questions?
I was just gonna say, I
Yeah.
just turned back the comments. So if you guys have any questions for Aaron Jack, please feel free to ask anything, or for myself.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I want to know about your book. Like, what's the, you know,
Okay, so
mhm.
my book, it will take a little bit of time to get it going, just because I have more than 50 artists. I don't even know how many artists I've interviewed at this point, and every single one of them has created, not every single one, but most of the artists that have come into tap into your creativity have created a work of original artwork to sell. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this book together with each of the artist's bio statement, and then with the piece of art that they created for this project. So it will be really fascinating to see, to have that compilation of all, artists. And so it's going to be a really cool thing to have. If you want to support me and the artist, it's a way to do it, by buying this book when it comes available. I will have all my artists help me with promotion on that. But most of all is, in 5 years from now, you can look at that book and say, hey, I did something good. I helped people. I helped my community of artists, and we did just amazing stuff together. So
Have you thought about making an exhibition with all the artists?
I would love to. And once the world is more stabilized and we are able to be with each other, there's so many possibilities that can happen. And, you know, even a picture of all of us together, I would like die, you know, because they're from all over the world. But, you know, it's a dream at this time. But, you know, there's not a small dream here. We can achieve it. And we just need to abide by the rules right now and be good and not go out and wear masks and be polite, you know, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself and others. And that way the curve will come down. And, you know, Minneapolis right now, we're super high in cases. And so we are really taking care of ourselves.
Yeah,
So,
it's crazy. It's it's pretty crazy out there. It's
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, it's a good time to create some art, to start some lives with other artists. And I think that's the really interesting thing about all of this, is that we don't need to wait until someone else gives us permission to have
right,
space to
right.
talk. Is like we have the ability, all of us, to create space for others to talk, to facilitate a discussion, to facilitate an ear, and
Yeah,
facilitate an ear for like others to be there. Because I think it's really something to it's different, you know, me just going on and talking about my work than you know, being here listening and asking me questions and kind of giving me elements and directive. Because it's even as one who directs interviews themselves, it's you
I
know.
know, I know. Sometimes it's hard to, you know, to go deep inside of yourself and find that. And you know, I think that even though that you've done this many times, when the camera switches on you is a whole different beast, right? And so I think that you just, you know, you just need to trust that you're doing something good for the better of people and for the better of yourself. Because if you're okay with yourself, then you can be a better everything. So it starts with you, and that's why I'm saying to you, Erin, try and find that voice that I seem to see this swirling inside your head. With, you know, maybe you're not even, you know, sleeping well because you wake up with all these things happening in your head. And you know, you need to record that. You need to make sure that everything is on paper. And so when you look back and say, yeah, I was struggling with this, but I went through this, and this is where it got me. And sometimes, you know, you just have to do that. You have to go through the struggle to get to that space that, you know, that you're in that freedom, to create whatever you want. And you are in a freedom space, but I feel the push and pull that you're having right now, because you're a multidisciplinary artist. And you should stay that way. You should stay in that pull and push. It's a great place to be. It's a great struggle to be in. And just show up every day and do it for yourself, because at this point you don't have anyone to impress, right? Except for yourself. And when you are surprising yourself, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, isn't that the interesting thing, the surprising of oneself within the work? I find it intriguing, how one is able to inspire themselves and and stay curious. I feel like is the thing here, is like, what is it to stay curious, to stay
Yeah.
curious out there,
Yeah.
and to stay curious in here? Like, what's the what what does it take to take those steps of curiosity?
Oh, I forgot to show this little video.
Oh yeah. I've been playing around. This is my most recent kind of like series that I've been thinking about for a while, is kind of like the idea of like the addition of video, like the, you know, kind of like this movement, and then the music with it. Because so you all can't hear it. You're gonna have to go to Aaron Jack Line Art on Instagram to go hear the music with this. But just seeing these moments of reflective inner spaces. I feel like that's the thing. It's like light can be so much, how it's expressed through the different media. Let it be reflective.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there
Let
you
it
go.
be reflective.
Be
How's that?
reflective.
Be reflective.
Let's put a dot right there. And again, can you show us one more time your
Hey,
piece
hey
that you
Gina.
did? And so this will be for sale. It is for sale right now. All proceeds will go to Feeding America. So make sure that if you're interested, please DM me or Aaron. This is Sumi art on ink on rice paper and gold. And so I'm very excited about this piece. It's awesome. It has so much movement and rhythm and all of it. And I'm just excited. And thank you again, Aaron, for joining me today. And we'll be in touch. And I will see you in a couple weeks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, it is almost that time. I have a full schedule, so that's why I'm like, but happy Thanksgiving.
Take care, Aaron. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be well. Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Bye.